Hello, you're very welcome to episode 11 of the My Generation Gap podcast, where you have me, Stuart Vincent Moore, a 50-year-old member of Generation X, talking art, media and culture with my 18-year-old niece, Harriet Pilkington, who is a member of Generation Z.
Gen Z.
Gen Z. Hi, Rach, how are you doing?
I'm all good, yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm back at work pretty much full time now, which is nice.
Back at work full time, that's good, isn't it?
It is. I go to work and then afterwards I get a Subway. And I mean, as people, if you are a listener of the My Generation Gap, you will know I have gallstones and Subway is one of the only things I can eat. And they now know my order and they know who I am. So I turn up and they go, 6-inch turkey, Italian white, no cheese. And I'm like, yes, please. And I think that's pretty bad.
Yeah, usual. Yeah, it's different. Like if you go into a pub, usual. Yeah. If they're saying it in Subway, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Although they used to say that to me in my kebab shop.
In your kebab shop?
Back in the 90s, yeah.
I remember Caroline, your wife, going out with my mum, which is, if you haven't listened to this podcast before, dear listener, Stuart is my uncle, so my mum's brother. They were in a kebab shop. My mum gave her order, and it was like a really sweet version of a kebab, and then like a Dr. Pepper or something like that. And Caroline said, I could tell you what you could have had then, what you would have had then, because Stuart would have had exactly the same thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you know what? One time we were in Wales. We'd gone climbing up. We were in like Snowdonia. I can't remember the new term for it now. But we were in the town there. We'd gone for Caroline's birthday.
Yeah.
And we decided to go to Chippy for his tea. And Caroline said, what do you want? And I said, oh, do you know what? Just get us a fish butty.
Yeah.
And she went, a what? A fish butty? What's a fish butty? I said, she's a fish butty, isn't it? She went, well, they know what that is. And I went, of course they will. Everybody knows what a fish butty is. And she went into the Chippy and asked for a fish butty. And they all went, a what? Nobody knew what a fish butty was, even in the Chippy.
Nobody knew what a fish butty was?
No.
Wow.
Caroline came back, she was dead mad with me. She went, I can't believe you tricked me into asking for a fish butty when you knew it wasn't even a thing.
Well, I would know what a fish butty was.
Yeah. Who doesn't know what a fish butty is? Apparently, Chippy owners in Wales.
Apparently. I went out with a boyfriend, went for a drive. I go on a lot of drives for my anxiety, just trying to get out, every day, kind of pushing, going wherever. And this particular day, we'd gone near where my grandma lives, and it's quite a quiet village. I'd gone up this road and I'd gone to turn around. I pulled left onto a street, and then I don't know how to explain it. I was turning around. I was basically doing a U-turn.
Yeah.
And as I was reversing, my reverse camera came on, and I saw these two things like run under my car. And I said to Harley, I said, something's definitely gone underneath my car. And he was like, no. I was like, yeah, I've just seen it in my camera. So he opens his door and there's this dog next to him. I open my car door and there's this dog my side as well. So we've both got this, like a border terrier, quite a big terrier. Two of them. I said to him, and this is embarrassing, but it's really funny. I says, oh, there's a number. I says, I'll ring the number. I says, and his name's Tell. He was like, I don't think that's the case, Harriet, otherwise this one's name's Tell as well. If you can't picture that in your mind, Tell and then the number. So that was quite funny. And then the guy, I rang the guy up and said, I think your dogs have just run under my car. They're both completely fine, but I think you need to come get them. And he was like, them bloody dogs did it. I could hear him in the house. So I rung him, but I could hear him shouting anyway.
Could you hear him say, Jean, Tell and Tell have got out.
Yeah. The Tells have got out. So came out and got the dogs, and he got one of the dogs, and I got out of the car to greet this guy. And his dog got back in my car, sat in the driver's seat. I was like, he can't come with me. But that's been my week.
Well, I've had a busy couple of weeks, but with work, And I've been travelling a lot for work, hence why I haven't watched very much telly, and I've struggled to watch what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
But I've been travelling a lot across Europe. I've been
Europe.
working in France, and I've been working in Netherlands as well. And I hadn't done that for a while. It just made me feel really old. You know, because when you're younger, you just...
What, like overwhelmed?
No, not overwhelmed, just more... I don't want to use the word nervous, because I don't feel that nervous, but...
Yeah.
I feel myself turning into my dad, because I'll set off and I'll drive half an hour and we'll have to stop to check that I've got my passport. But not only that I've got my passport, that it's my passport and not my wife's or Ivan's passport.
Yeah.
And then I'll get to the wherever I'm going, train station or airport, and I'll have to check the passport again to make sure that it hasn't changed and I've still got it, and it's still my passport, not my wife's passport.
And then you have to check it again, yeah.
I'll check that every 20 minutes.
I remember going out with Grandad one time. We were getting a load of different trains. I can't remember, we were going Leeds or something like that. And I think we'd missed a couple, or he was getting overwhelmed, or something was going on. Bear in mind, he was like 65 years old at this point, something like that.
Yeah.
And I turned to him and I went, "You're not doing very well with trains today, Grandad." And he never got over it. We still say it to this day when we're getting something wrong. "You're not doing very well with trains today, Grandad."
But at least I've got plenty of time to check my passport, because I tend to get to the airport like 3 hours earlier than I need to, just in case anything goes wrong.
I think my dad gets to the airport like 5 days early. Feels like it anyway.
And then do you know what I hate? I get everywhere like a good 2 or 3 hours early. And I'm there waiting for the train or the plane or whatever it is I'm waiting for. And then these people that turn up with no spare time at all, they're just on time and everything goes perfectly okay. Nothing goes wrong. And everything goes to plan, and they just walk straight on to the plane or the train and through. There's no hold-ups at security. There's no hold-ups at check-in. And they just live this charmed existence, and I hate them.
I know what you mean.
And secretly, I just wish I could live my life like that.
Yeah, I have to admit, I am a little bit like that sometimes. Not saying everything does go according to plan. I am sometimes late for things, but I'd rather be on time than early. I don't know what it is.
You're sometimes late for things?
Yeah. Yes, I am. And it drives my dad insane. Like, he has to be there early, and I'm like, we're fine. And all I get is, Harriet. I'm like still in the bath, and we've got to go in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Chat with the gappers.
Oh, hang on. Before we do chat with the gappers, I want to talk about one thing, because my pal, Sonny Paul, has launched his podcast this week.
That's the one you did the episode for?
That's right, yeah. So he interviewed me. We had a chat a couple of weeks ago. It's the Appauling podcast. He's released the first episode this week. So by the time this comes out, it'll be there for a couple of weeks. And by the time this episode is released, my episode should be released as well. So we talk a lot about class and creativity and things like that. It's really good listen. So yeah, I recommend the Appauling podcast.
Appauling, is that on?
I'm not sure, but I'll put the links on the or I'll put his link tree on the podcast notes. And then to that, I listened to the first episode. Actually, he talked to like a matchmaker, a Sikh matchmaker, a lady that's running
a Sikh. What, like a matchmaker as in like dating?
Yeah,
a Sikh matchmaker.
Yeah, so she works specifically in the Sikh community. Give it a listen. Yeah, try that out. Right, well, let's do this. Chatter with the gappers. 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 What we got, H?
Chat with the gappers. This week, we haven't got a specific conversation, just a general mess up by me, which I need to talk about in case any of our regular gappers have seen this on TikTok and got insanely confused by it. So, last episode, Stuart faked eating a bar of soap.
Yeah, dear listener, it wasn't a real bar of soap. I fashioned it out of marzipan.
Marzipan.
In a bid to confuse and amuse Harriet.
Confuse and amuse.
Yeah.
So I put up a TikTok, a short clip of you eating the bar of soap. Now, in my head, at first, I thought it was butter, not marzipan.
Yeah, where did you get that from?
Absolutely no clue, just colour of it, I think. And the texture as well, it was quite soft. I knew it wasn't soap after, like, the first bite, because then I was like, wait. So then I put on TikTok, here's a clip of Stuart eating butter. I put it in the caption, I put it in the text in the video. Why I wrote butter, I don't know. So then all the comments were like, is that not soap? Crying, laughing emoji. Imperial leather ? Looks like imperial leather. I felt harassed. I got it wrong. And I didn't know what to do. And then I thought, well, now I've just got to leave it. And it got quite good likes and views. So I was like, I'll just leave it up.
Oh, is that you rage baiting?
Yeah, it is rage baiting. Yeah, I suppose. I rage bait myself more than anything, just because when I looked at it myself, I got really confused. So, an accidental rage bait.
Yeah, so kids, don't eat soap.
Yeah.
Eat big blocks of marzipan. It's dead good for you.
Massive blocks of marzipan. Well, this week, due to my very restrictive diet, I can't have any fat, but I found that the things that they make spring rolls out of, is it called rice bread?
I have no idea.
It's like like the crunchy bit in a spring roll.
Yeah, like the wrapping.
Yeah, it's very similar to that. And
the tube, it's delivery tube.
It's delivery tube.
Yeah, spring roll delivery tube.
The spring roll delivery tube. You can actually buy them and make your own. So I made my own spring roll and I was like, oh, that's really nice. And then I thought,
hang on, what did you put in it?
Well, just like carrot, a bit of chicken, like soy sauce and stuff like that.
You put peanut butter in?
Salad and peanut butter.
Yeah.
What?
I bet you could put like peanut butter in there and a bit of jam. I can't have peanut butter.
But it did make me think.
Custard.
It did make me think.
Rice pudding. What?
It did make me think. You're just away now with all the possibilities.
Yeah.
It made me think about wrapping chunks of pear in them, putting them in the air fryer to make like crunchy pear bits to dip in golden syrup.
Oh, yeah.
Because I can have that. And I made myself sick, like really, really feel so physically sick that now I can't even think about having whatever it was that I made.
Oh, we'll talk about being sick. It was, it's Ferdinand's birthday on Sunday. He was 2 years old. 2 years old. And as a special treat, me and him had some bacon on Sunday morning. Because we don't usually have bacon in the house because we're a vegetarian household largely. I got him some bacon and he right enjoyed that. And then since I made that marzipan bar of soap, Ferdinand, as we've realised that Ferdinand goes nuts for marzipan. He absolutely loves it.
Really?
Yeah. So we've been snacking on little bits of marzipan, me and him, and we've been sharing it. Anyway, just before this podcast, I had to clean up about 6 piles of sick that were scattered around the house.
Well,
3 of them were from Ferdinand.
Dear listener, we just started the podcast and we have a few like kind of bits in the beginning where we're kind of sorting stuff out, and I was like, oh, I'll nip to the toilet. I came back and all I could hear was and I thought, is Uncle Stuart all right? And then he came back and he was like, the dog's been sick.
Yeah.
I thought it was a bizarre noise for Uncle Stuart to be making.
I have a weak constitution, and every time I'm cleaning up sick on anything messy, I can't help but gip.
Oh, I bet it was you. I bet it was you cleaning up the sick. Going,
yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, it was me. Yeah, it wasn't Ferdinand being sick. It was me gipping and cleaning up the sick.
Oh, yeah, it would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got memories as a child of you picking up dog poo and...
Oh, just the thought of picking up dog poo made me gip. Yeah, your granddad used to wind me up, just talk about picking up... Oh, right.
You've set yourself off.
Yeah, move on.
Move on quick. Right.
Do we need to clarify that Ferdinand is a dog?
Yes.
Yeah, let's just clarify that before we move on. That Ferdinand is a 2-year-old dog, not a child or anything.
And that you've just left.
Yeah, rolling in sick.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what we're here to talk about, which is the TV series You on the Netflix.
Yeah, on the Netflix.
Yeah, on the Netflix, yeah. So, like on the iPlayer, on the YouTube, on the Netflix.
On the YouTube.
Okay, so will you summarise You?
I don't know if you can.
One sentence. I'll tell you what, summarise it up in 6 words.
in 6 words.
Yeah, there's a challenge. Summarise
It's
you in 6 words.
very gory, horrific, and psychologically.
That's it. That's it.
I've run out of words. That's it. There you go.
So you follows, what's the guy's name, H?
Joe Goldberg.
Joe Goldberg, who is a serial killer. He's a nasty piece of work, and he goes round inexplicably killing people for no apparent reason.
And then just justifying it.
And
in his own mind.
Completely getting away with it all the way through.
Yeah.
Again, completely inexplicably. In the middle of New York City, where there's CCTV and police everywhere, and yet he never gets seen.
No,
knocking
never gets
people's
caught.
heads in. No.
Yeah.
Bashing people's brains in, stabbing people, setting fire to things, and
he even gets caught on a live stream and still gets away with it for a while.
Yeah. Which I started watching it, and what put me off again, H, is the voiceover.
The voiceover. Now, the voiceover in You is such a heavy voiceover that I've seen clips where they've taken away the voiceover, and he's just stood there in conversations like this. and with the voiceover, without it, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't actually flow as a sentence.
Yeah, and at first, H, I wanted to hate it.
Right.
And now I just watched, because you recommended it, I actually watched the whole of the final season.
You watched the whole of it?
Yeah. Now,
right.
I haven't watched it properly because it's sort of been on my phone while I've been travelling around, while I've been doing
on and off trains.
On and off trains.
Checking your passport.
Yeah, while I've been making my breakfast, cooking my dinner, and it's just been on in my phone in the background. So I haven't sat down and kind of focused on it and watched it properly.
Yeah.
So I've been watching it, and the voiceover bits were just like, it made my eyes roll, and I thought, oh, here's another thing where they can't tell a story, they can't
through the acting,
portray things through clever writing or direction or.
There's certain things I don't think you would have been able to understand through acting, if that makes sense. Certain things going on in his brain that I do think it was useful to know as a listener.
I sort of agree with you, but disagree with you at the same time. I think there are lots of the things that you could get and you should have understood through different ways of revealing it to you rather than him saying it to you in your mind. Because some of the things he said were inane. But then towards the end of the series, I think I understood what they were trying to do. And I don't know if you agree with this or this is right or what. And it sort of made me want to go back and watch it from the beginning, perhaps, maybe. I don't know. It's a lot of investment in it because it's a lot of TV.
It is a lot of TV.
Because the way that I kind of see it, apart from all that, because there's some absolutely ridiculous things in there, like him having a stupid underground cage in the middle of New York City where people are screaming and yet nobody hears them.
And nobody's heard them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Yeah, the cage is kind of explained through season 1. Did you understand what the cage was?
No.
Or why it was there?
No.
So the cage is underneath Mooney's, the bookshop. He'd had people in the cage then. They'd moved away to, I think, like the suburbs in America. He built a cage over there. So I'm thinking, where is this guy quick ordering these cages from?
Where'd you get them
I get the first one. Yeah, I get the first one, but I'm pretty sure he builds one, like, in the other side of the country. And then, can't remember right, but I have a feeling he builds one in London as well. So who's building you these cages?
Where are you getting all this stuff from? It took me 6 weeks to get the shed ordered for our back garden.
Yeah. Where are you getting this glass specialist cage from?
Yeah.
I might be wrong with that, though. So that's why the cage was already there for him and he knew what to do because he'd done all that before.
What I took from it, watching the final season, is... because I thought it was just, here's just another nonsense one about a guy going around killing women, load of nonsense. But then actually with the voiceover, I could see how it's his voice overpowering all the other voices in his life. So he basically just doesn't listen to anybody else around him. He doesn't form any connections with anybody. Yeah. Because he's constantly lying and twisting things and in his own mind. In his own mind, justifying these things.
Yeah, I feel like he's in a war with himself.
Well,
Um,
I think it's very much like manosphere stuff. And then in the final series, a
yep,
character comes along called Bronte,
yep,
and I think she represents feminism, the strength of women. I think that's why she's called Bronte, because they were kind of like the first feminist authors. The
yeah,
works that
I'd
they
agree.
wrote were considered to be among the kind of the first feminist style
Feminist.
works
Yeah,
of fiction.
yeah.
I think as the final series progressed, his voiceover gets taken over, and then all of a sudden, Bronte starts having a voiceover in her head, which she didn't all the way through.
Yeah, so Beck gets a voiceover. She's the first girlfriend. I believe Love has a voiceover, and she's the wife.
Yeah, so it's almost like as they find their voice, and then I
Yeah.
suspect then they're killed quite soon afterwards.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, so
usually.
as they find their voice against a man who is completely
Yep.
obsessive,
Yes.
as
Yeah.
they find their voice against somebody who's quite obsessive, domineering, overbearing,
Yep.
and abusive, coercive and
Yep.
abusive, as they find their voice, I suspect then he doesn't like that, and then they die pretty soon afterwards.
Yes. Usually that is generally, yeah, it's either they've rebelled, yeah, and then shortly afterwards they're killed in one way or another, or expelled of, or something like that.
So I think I'd quite like to watch it for those dynamics and
Yeah,
just to see what it's saying about
definitely.
that. So yeah, I think I'd like to watch more of it to understand those scenes, because it's quite
Yeah.
interesting what it's trying to say about society
Yeah.
and men. And then and of course his last word was, it's I didn't do
Yep.
any of these things, it's you. And I think pointing up a mirror to society and allowing men to do what they do, killing women basically, and all the authorities
Yeah.
letting him get away with it, which they
Yeah.
do now.
Yeah, I mean, you look at in the last season when he just says, "Oh, I'm off yachting," and da, 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 and the guy goes, "Oh, all right," and he lets him off because he puts on this act. That is something that would
Yeah.
happen in the real world. You know what I mean? Depending on how, to a certain degree, depending on how you would conduct yourself, even though that police officer had no idea he was doing anything, he just thought he was slightly suspicious. He thought he was less suspicious because he'd said certain things, he'd name dropped certain things, and the power of that had a snowball effect into him being able to
Yeah,
do
well, there you go.
certain
You
other
can get away with
things.
a lot, can't
But
you, with
yeah.
privilege and entitlement. And then again, we're talking about all sorts of feminism, and I've still got my pen with the lady in it, where you turn her upside
You
down and her clothes
still
fall off.
got your
Yeah.
pen with the naked lady.
With the pen, I turn upside down and her clothes fall off.
Yeah.
But it writes really nice.
I know what you mean when you get a good pen. Season 5, obviously he's got this powerful woman, and instead of killing her, he decides that his marriage is over because she doesn't want him to, in his head, save her. He doesn't want she's an independent woman. She's like, I don't need you to save me from
Which-
anything. If that makes sense. And he can't cope with that. So then
Well,
he
this is it.
obsesses over
As
somebody
I
else.
was watching it, I was started off going, "Oh, this is ridiculous," and like the things he was coming out with in his mind were just
Yeah.
absolute nonsense. And then it took a few episodes for me to realize. I thought, hang on, it's a completely
Yeah.
unreliable narrator. He's just completely delusional. It's his own voice just talking absolute nonsense.
It's like a narcissistic, abusive view. But that gets gradually worse over the season. So I can imagine if you start at season 5, you're like, holy crap, he's just
Yeah.
justifying killing somebody. As in like season 1, he's gradually justifying like, oh, I'll steal a phone maybe. But then season 5, Joe would be like, give me that phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So do you know what? I'd call this a Generation Z win.
Yeah, fab. But yeah, I think as well at the end when he says the problem is you, I think they've done that on purpose because even since the series has come out, if like I remember season 3 coming out and seeing everything online like, oh God, what I wish Joe Goldberg would do to me and all these types of things. The man's killing
Well, it's
people.
like Breaking Bad, in it, and the whole thing about Breaking Bad is Walter White and the power that he
Yeah.
finds, and how evil he
Walter
becomes
White,
and loses touch
yeah.
with his family and becomes and how
Yeah.
society creates this monster.
Yeah.
And then people are saying he's some kind of hero, and you think, well, hang on a minute, it's murdered loads of people and lost his
Yeah, like
family.
idolising him. I think that's why they brought up the letters. You know when they said like he gets the letters when he's in prison at the end? I think that's why they brought that up, because there's so many people online, and I tell you what, Joe Goldberg's biggest hater is Penn Badgley, who plays Joe Goldberg. So Penn Badgley has, I believe it's called the Podcrushed podcast. He occasionally talks about Joe Goldberg and talks about how he gets absolutely appalled when, you know, people like Joe Goldberg in any way, shape or form, whether it's a man or a woman. There was a lot of men that took Joe's side even when it was online. And all those types of things, and these are things that you see online. And then at the end, as soon as she'd shot his penis off, it was like all the men were suddenly like, "Whoa, we're not supporting him anymore." Why is that the thing? Not the murdering people, but they're being shot in the balls. And it was that. I feel like they really wanted to hold a mirror up, like you said, in those last couple of episodes, to say, even after watching this show, you're still, even now, I see edits of Joe Goldberg after season 5's come out, and they've tried to say this about society, of people saying, "Oh God, I wish I had a Joe Goldberg."
Have you not been watching the same thing?
Yeah. Have you watched the series? Yeah. So that's why they did that, I do believe.
Right. It's time for this.
It's Burger Stews, Burger Review. 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 It's eating a burger, then he marks it out of 5.
He's eating a burger and he's marking it out of 5 each. This week, I've gone local.
Local?
Well, actually, it's not that local. It's local to where I work.
Not local. Okay. Local but not local. Right.
I was up at work. The office that I work in is based up in Bradford.
Yeah.
You say Bradford when you're in Bradford, not Bradford.
Yeah, I didn't know
Bradford.
that.
And do you know what, H? I was in Bradford the other day, and I got up to Bradford to do some work in the office, and then the next day I was flying out from Leeds Bradford Airport.
Yeah.
And I hadn't booked a hotel to stop over. So I quickly looked on booking.com. And
that's pretty bad for somebody who checks their passport every 20 minutes.
Yeah. I thought, oh my God, I'm going to be sleeping in my car. And so I went on to booking.com, and all the hotels were all full. There was nothing near the airport, anything. Anyway, there was one place in Bradford City Centre. So I booked it on booking.com. I thought, oh, well, that was good. It was fairly cheap. So I went into the city centre and parked up near this place.
Yeah.
Followed the map. And it was all a ruse. It wasn't a hotel.
Yeah, I don't like booking.com. I can't lie.
I know. I walked in and it was like a wedding venue. It was like a big hall. I walked in and there was like this big, like a lavish room all set up for this big, massive wedding.
Yeah.
And I was knocking on all these doors thinking, oh, well, maybe they've got some apartments upstairs or something in this big, grand building.
Yeah.
Eventually found some guys in an office. I went, is there any accommodation in here? And he went, no, mate. And they were like he was trying to sell a wedding package to these two guys. And he went, no, mate, not in it, mate. I was like, oh, I think I've been had.
That's bad. We've had that kind of, well, not that before, but we've had like times where I've booked something on booking.com for the lads at work, like accommodation wise. And they've got there and they've just got no code to get in. Like, there's just a code. Then you ring them up and you're like, have they got the code? Have you got the code? And then the guy on the telephone doesn't speak any English. So you're like, have you got the code for the apartment? And then you can't. And then they hang up the phone. And then you're like, you've got, like 4 electricians just like in the middle of London. And booking.com, I can't lie. Sorry, booking.com, but not brilliantly reliable.
Yeah, they was all right. Anyway, so I rung the number and it went through to some Russian answer phone. I thought, oh, I've been done here. So anyway, I had to go in there. I managed to get somewhere in the end.
Good.
But I was a bit worried.
Yeah.
But I had my tea
at
a place in Saltaire called Rumpus Burger.
Called Rumpus Burger?
Yeah, it's quite a fancy place, and loads of people at my work rave about it, and they say how good Rumpus Burger. And do you know what? I have been there in the past. It's been pretty good.
Yeah.
So this time, Rumpus Burger, Fear the Beast Burger, 3 out of 5.
So medium then, decently good, but Could be
It
better.
was disappointing. It wasn't much better.
For what it's hyped up to be.
Yeah, and I've had burgers from there in the past and they've been all right. But I'll tell you what was wrong with this one, H.
What?
It was sopping wet.
Oh, like greasy and...
It wasn't even greasy. It was just wet. And I picked it up and like the bottom of the bread just all like fall apart. And
yeah.
it was just a right old mess. And I thought, oh, it took me ages to eat because it was so messy.
Yeah.
But it was a good job it was so wet because they'd forgotten to give me my drink.
That is bad.
Yeah. And I wasn't going to drive all the way back.
Maybe your drink was on your burger.
That's what I mean, yeah. So maybe they've gone, oh, yeah, I want
With a Diet Coke.
burger and a Fanta orange, and just pour it in the thing. It soaked it all up, yeah. Where's my Fanta orange? It's in there, mate. So, yeah, 3 out of 5. Should have been better.
Yeah.
Wasn't very good. Are you ready?
Yep.
Test. Woo, woo, woo. Test. Woo, woo, woo. Question 1. Who was the first person Joe Oh, it's not Joe Longthorne, is it? What's his name?
Joe Goldberg.
What? Who's Joe Longthorne? Didn't he have like a comedy show in the 1980s?
I have absolutely no idea.
Who was the first person Joe Longthorne murdered?
Benji.
Benji.
I can't remember his second name, but yes, Benji.
Neither can I.
I can tell you how he killed him.
I don't even know who he is.
He gave him
I'm gonna take your word
peanuts.
for it.
He gave him peanuts.
He gave
in
him
an
peanuts.
analogy. Yeah. He fed him peanuts through the glass door.
Peanuts.
Well, he gave him a coffee with peanut oil in it.
Question 2. Charlotte, Emily, and Anne have links with which character?
Dr. Nicky's son.
No.
Charlotte.
Emily, and Anne. They're proper real life people.
What are you on
Charlotte.
about?
We've talked about them. They're not characters in the show. Charlotte, Emily, and Anne.
Oh, I was thinking like Charlotte.
No.
Sorry. Anyway.
Think Victorian. We've mentioned the names.
Oh, Bronte.
Bronte.
That's what I was thinking. Charlotte, Emily Bronte, and I thought maybe you were on about Bronte, and then I got really confused. Yeah, Bronte.
3. Who played Joe Longthorne?
Penn Badgley.
Penn Badgley. 4. Who was Joe Longthorne's last victim?
Oh, last victim. He didn't end up killing Kate. He didn't kill Bronte. It was the Dr. Nicky's son.
Correct.
Yeah.
I don't know age, but
the guy whose head he smashed against the fireplace, I think.
Was it? I don't know.
Because he didn't kill any women after that.
Didn't he kill one of the twins? Because actually, do
That
you know
was
what?
before he'd killed the guy.
Oh
though.
yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And that was another thing because I thought it was ridiculous because I thought, oh, as if you could get twins and get one to pretend to be the other thing. I thought, oh my God, this is so footballers' wives, like ridiculous soap thing. One twin pretend to be another. But then I slowly came to realise, well, hang on, it's because he just thinks all women are the same. Yeah, doesn't matter. They're just women. So, Harriet, you're 4 for 4.
Oh.
Could get you 50p in a drink.
I could.
Question 5, H. What snack did I eat whilst watching? Now, bearing in mind, I watched this over several weeks.
Yeah.
And a lot of it I watched breakfast time.
Yeah, have you got a specific snack that you've eaten, really? Can you do this question?
Yeah, because a lot of them were over breakfast, so I had like a regular breakfast.
Okay, I'm going to go with bacon and marzipan because of the 30.
No, but that sounds good, doesn't it?
I thought you'd like that.
No, it was toast with peanut butter and Marmite.
Well, actually, that's not as weird as some food combinations that we've had in the past.
No, you can buy peanut butter and Marmite in a jar, can't you? Already pre-mixed.
Can
you? Yeah. That's why I have it because I thought, oh, I'll try that, and it was dead good.
Oh.
And now, yeah, you can just mix it yourself at home, can't you?
I'm a big fan of golden syrup at the minute because that's
Where did that come? I didn't say golden syrup, did I? I said peanut butter and Marmite. Where did golden syrup come from then?
Because I just wanted to talk about golden syrup, how amazing it is. It's one of the only foods I can eat. It's just full of sugar. It's really nice.
Sugar, yeah.
I even had like a ham golden syrup sandwich.
Oh, do you know what? That sounds good.
It
Do you know
was
what's
good.
golden syrup? It'd be good with sausages.
I can't eat them, but yeah, it would be.
Well, what if you have honey instead of golden syrup?
No, I can have the golden syrup.
You-
It's the sausages I
just
can't
thinking
have.
honey might be a little bit healthier.
Oh, right, just in general.
Just in
Yeah,
general.
but when you can't eat any fat whatsoever, you don't care about what sugar you're eating because
I
you
suppose
just
not.
yeah,
You just want to eat something.
you actually just want the sugar, otherwise you just like faint all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like a horse, like sucking on sugar
Yeah.
cubes.
Yeah, yeah. You know, like when you put a bee on a spoonful of sugar to make them feel
Spoonful of
better.
sugar water. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm like all the time. And like people say to me, like, "Well, you shouldn't be eating that. What you should be eating is," I'm like, "Well, I could eat that, but I'd be in hospital." So
Yeah. Right. Well, H, I think we're done. Apart from what's your jelly bean?
well, I finished maths.
How many people made it through to final vows?
Quite a few, but then in the reunion, I think there's only one couple left.
Who's that?
Jeff and Ree, my
Of course it was.
favourites.
Yeah, they're great.
I love Jeff and Ree. Like,
Jeff's
I
brilliant,
think
isn't he?
Jeff's fab. I mean, well, just the pair of them. Ree's independent. She's vulnerable with him, which I think she struggled with in the past.
Yeah.
And Jeff's understanding, and I love it. I love Jeff's reactions to Jackie because he genuinely cannot
Oh, yeah.
understand. Do you know, I have a theory about Jackie, and that's that Jackie is, or says that she has a lot of businesses and things like that. I have a feeling it's all a big ruse.
I think appearances are very, very important to Jackie.
Yeah, but I don't know if part of me wonders if that isn't her persona because and whether she's gone on as a different persona to gain clout online and money. Because watching the show, you would want to know more about Jackie.
Yeah.
I love it when what's her name? Blonde hair.
Jackie?
No. She was with Dave and Jamie.
Jamie, yeah, she's always fighting.
I love Jamie when she says you've got to admire Jackie like a work of art because she's iconic. Because what the hell?
Yeah.
I like Ryan as well. Like when he dropped her.
She didn't. She did not let that go, did she?
No. And then when she went to his house and she started crying, like, it just reminds me of the elderly. He's been on his own for so long. I liked the fact that the experts really called out Paul because Paul needed a massive calling out for his behaviour. And then the fact that he came back, I know you said you hadn't watched a reunion, but Paul basically came back and blamed, who was with Paul?
Karina.
Yep. And blamed Karina for everything he'd done, all the violence,
Karina was brilliant.
I love Karina, and he came back and he was like, well, she's a bit of a snob, and actually, I'm glad that she didn't want to be with me. I'm fine because he was really, I think, hurt by the fact that she left, but rightly so.
Yeah, I didn't even want to kiss her anyway, and because she smells, and and I've got another girlfriend, and she goes to another school.
Yeah, he basically came in and did that.
Yeah, well, I'm not jetting off around Europe for the next couple of weeks, so I'll be able to catch up on maths.
Yes, you need to watch the reunion. And then Corey's been really depressing. It's basically like a police show now. It's really odd.
Oh, right.
Craig's died. Craig Tinker.
Craig Tinker.
That's his name.
Right, yeah.
And also, I would like to mention the fact that I got a 1% question right in the 1% club.
So I don't know what that is.
And that's crazy to me. That
Why?
you are British and you don't know what the 1% club is.
What's the 1% club? In that type of milk?
No. Lee Mack. Do you know who Lee Mack is?
Yeah. The comedian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So Lee Mack's got a game show called the 1% Club.
All right.
And each question, they start at 90%. So 90% of, they ask, I don't know, I think it's like 1,000 people these questions, and then they work out statistically what the country would have got. So the 90% question, 90% of the country would have got right. The 80% of the country.
Oh,
70%.
okay. Yeah, yeah.
And then they get to 50%, they go 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, and then 1.
Oh.
So there's 100 people that play, and every time somebody goes out, £1,000 goes into the prize pot.
Right.
So, like, the one I just watched, there was 3 contestants left.
So they could win
96,000.
£99,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of money in it. So the one I just watched...
It's like an house.
Well, I don't know about in this economy.
It depends on where you live.
Yeah.
If you live where I live, it is.
Yeah. The guy that I just watched, £96,000 he won because 3 of them went through to the 1% question and only 1 of them got right. That was the one I got right. I was like, I could have had £96,000.
Oh, and what was the question?
I can't remember. Oh, it was... I thought it was really easy for a 1% question.
Okay.
So it was a word search and it said, I don't know, so-and-so's got to get into this phone and this is a code to figure out what the password is. Within his password, each number is greater than the last. And then I noticed that in the word search, there was, I don't know, I think it was 1689, something like that, 1589. Well, you look at it and then you put them in order. And I thought it was really easy for a 1% question. Usually the 1% question is just like... I don't know, a shape, and then, like, what is this shape? But, like, in a really confusing...
well, like,
no,
triangle.
but, like, yeah, it'll be a circle. What is the shape? You'll say circle, and they'll go square. And then they'll, like, do some really long explanation of why it's actually... Do you know what I mean? The 1% question is usually really difficult.
It's like Dusty Bin from the 1980s.
Dusty Bin?
Yeah, on 3, 2, 1.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, so there was a game show called 3, 2, 1 from the 1980s, and it was unfathomable, right?
Yeah.
There'd be a couple of couples. Couples would partake in this show, so it'd be married couples usually that come onto it. And they would have, like, several big, massive prizes. And all the prizes would be, there was like a limerick or some sort of... what's the right riddle? There'd be a riddle.
Yeah.
And
that's a bit like the 1% club.
Yeah, but the riddle
riddles.
would be something like, you know, it would like hint at you know, flying off to Spain or something like that.
Yeah.
And if you got the riddle, each week one of the riddles would be Dusty Bin, and you just win a bin.
That's so weird.
Yeah. So you go, oh, and he'd read out all these riddles, and they'd go, oh, which one do you want? Or which one do you want to get rid of? And they go, we'll get rid of number 1, please, Ted, because Ted Rogers hosted it.
Right.
We'll get rid of number 1. And so you go, oh, right. So don't forget. And whichever one you ended up with at the end, that's what you won. And so he'd read out the riddle for number 1. He'd go, right, my riddle is this. I've got a flat, round lid, and I smell really bad because people put rubbish in me. What am I? And they go, oh, now let me think about this. A flat round lid. Now, we think...
I already know what this is.
And they go, we think that's Dusty Bin. We think that's the bin. So, Ted, we're going to get rid of number 1. And he goes, well...
Oh, I see.
If you'd have listened to the clue, it's a flat round lid. Where did you get flat roofs? In Spain. People, they smell really bad because they put... Yeah, it's a villa in Spain. Ta-da! You've just thrown away a lifetime's holiday to Spain. They go, oh, hell.
That is funny.
Yeah.
That's not like the 1% club.
No, and then subsequently they go and they get rid of all the things. And the final one would be, oh, I've got 4 wheels and you drive me around and you can beat my horn and I get you to work and back. And they go, oh, it's Dusty Bin.
It's a car.
No, they said it wouldn't be the car because there'd be some convoluted answer why it wouldn't be a car. It was the bin.
Right. It was actually the bin. Yeah, I see what you mean.
That didn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, I get what you mean. No, the 1% club, the questions, like the first question is usually like, I don't know.
How old are you?
Are you alive? Have you got a heartbeat?
What's your favourite colour?
Just checking they're there. Yeah. It's usually really easy. And then like 50% you're starting to get like some that are, it's very much, I feel like it's not luck, but it depends how your brain works. Some questions like pattern recognition, other ones are like logic, maths. Do you know what I mean? So sequences and things like that, which I like.
Oh, like IQ tests.
Yeah, it's like doing IQ
It's not
tests.
general knowledge, it's an IQ test. Ooh.
Yeah, and it's really good. So yeah, the guy won £96,000, which I
Well,
thought
that's
was
a
really
generation
impressive.
thing, and into age, maybe we should do a game show for the next Generation X thing.
Maybe we should do a game
Look
show.
into game shows, because there was some right good game shows,
Yeah.
but there was some
So
right
maybe
turkeys
I
as
might
well.
pick the 1% club then, and I might get like a specific episode. We can see how far we're getting it.
Yeah, and then we could go back and look at a Generation X game show, like 3 to 1, or
We could
play
do
your cards
them
right.
both
Which
in
hey,
one episode.
there was a whole game show called Play Your
I
Cards
know what
Right,
play your cards right.
and it just
Higher or lower.
just higher or lower for like half an hour. You think,
Yeah,
who's gonna watch that?
but people did.
But
Everybody
people did. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we do like the 1% club and maybe a Gen Xer, but do them both in one episode
All right.
because they're only half an hour, and then we can compare them.
Like Bullseye versus the 1% club.
Yeah.
All right, well, game on. Let's do that for the next episode
on.
then. Right, well, I think we're done, H.
Yeah.
So how do people get in touch with us?
They can email us, mygenerationgap@gmail.com. They can message our Instagram. If you know us personally, come speak to us, whether I'm in the salon or Terry Pathic's doing comedy. We have a TikTok now, where you can contact us on that as well.
Right, I think we'll call it a night, H. Thank you if you've made it this far, listener.
Very much.
Right, night, love you.
Night, love you.
Thank you for listening to My Generation Gap podcast. You can contact us by emailing mygenerationgap@gmail.com or podcast production by Stuart Vincent Moore, music by Andy Dawson, artwork by Harriet Pilkington.